Hello, Internet. I'm back for another weekly episode, bringing you info on a possible top-tier SUV coming from Lexus, Bentley's new Continental GT convertible, and Tesla may have finally reached their production goal for the Model 3. Oh, and there's an all-new car out there being built by the guys at Nismo. But first, as I'm sure you're aware, especially given the thumbnail of this video, the 2018 Los Angeles Auto Show kicked off this week, and new vehicles were plentiful, unless of course you're Volvo, but we'll get to that. And we'll kick it off with some red meat coming in the way of Audi's newest concept car, the Rt1 GT. Audi's boasting an estimated 250-mile range, a total of 590 horsepower, and a 3.5-second 0 to 60 time for the new car, which is apparently based on the recently announced Porsche Taycan. And a little piece of advice for all the Audi execs that watch this show: don't change anything. It looks great. And then there was Mercedes-Benz showing off the fastest version of their fastest car with the AMG GTR Pro. And while it uses the same powertrain found in the regular old AMG GTR, the Pro features braking, suspension, and handling upgrades, and some additional cosmetic features just to really let you know that you're driving something special. Cadillac was also there, showing off its all-new limited production CT6V with an all-new twin-turbo V8 producing 550 horsepower and 627 pound-feet of torque. And now it's really going to be a limited production, as the 2019 CT6V will be the first and last production year for the car, as it's going the way of the dinosaur at the end of 2019. And for more info on GM's recent dust-up, go take a look at my last video. And speaking of American luxury, Lincoln was nearby showing off its new midsize SUV, the 2020 Lincoln Aviator. And while I'm sure it's great, it's getting increasingly hard for me to get excited over mid-sized SUVs and crossovers from pretty much any brand. That being said, it's not bad looking, and the interior does look pretty premium. Oh, and the Aviator's warning chimes are brought to you by the Detroit Symphony Orchestra. Totally not kidding. And now that I've mentioned one luxury SUV, behold as I segue into the BMW X7, as BMW is in Los Angeles this week and giving us our first official look at their new full-size 3-row SUV. And after 4 years in the making, BMW is finally ready to throw their name in the hat with rivals like the GLS or the Escalade. The X7 is expected to start around $70,000 and will arrive in the spring of 2019. And Toyota was also there and gave us our first look at the all-new, all-wheel drive Toyota Prius that will use a pair of electric motors to complement the back wheels, and also showed off the new hybrid version of the recently redesigned Toyota Corolla. However, the most interesting bit of information to come out of this is an interview on Wednesday with the new Corolla's chief engineer, Yoshiki Kanishi, stating that the platform for the Prius and the Corolla are essentially the same, and alluded to the possibility of an all-wheel drive Corolla in the near future. I'll keep you posted. And if you remember way back in episode 6, we talked briefly about the Rivian R1T, and as predicted, Rivian was there to unveil their new EV truck, which is pretty cool, especially since, if all goes according to plan, the R1T will beat what would have seemed like more likely candidates to be the first to produce an all-electric mass-production pickup truck. It's estimated that the truck will start around $60,000, and while that's not exactly cheap, it is a price that's competitive with other well-equipped full-size trucks. Rivian has pledged to build the new vehicle in a former Mitsubishi plant in Normal, Illinois, and anticipates the vehicle to arrive in the later half of 2020. Oh, and I almost forgot about Volvo, which seems like it might be easy to do, as for the first time in history, they didn't bring a single car to the show. Instead, they were there, wowing onlookers with brochures and sit-downs about their various subscription services, and to keep the feng shui in order, there were some Amazon packages suspended from the ceiling. And not to be outdone by Volvo in the luxury segment, Lexus was there as well and showed us the new LX Inspiration series, which is essentially a murdered-out version of the LX 570, which will be limited to only 500 units. So if you've already got a thing for black paint and 21-inch wheels and have just over $100,000 sitting around somewhere, well, you know what to do. And finally, the Jeep truck that everyone was waiting on is officially official. And it's known as the Jeep Gladiator, and is the brand's first truck since the Cherokee-based Jeep Comanche bought the farm way back in 1992. The new Gladiator will feature 2 different 6-cylinder engines, one gas and one diesel, and will have a tow rating of 7,650 pounds. And Jeep is advertising the vehicle as 100% Jeep and 100% truck. And in 100% Jeep fashion, you'll be able to mod the crap out of this thing, as Jeep has already announced some 200 Gladiator-specific upgrades like tubular doors, suspension lifts, bed covers, LED light bars, floor mats, and more brought to you by the guys over at Mopar. Oh, and as expected, there were some other attendees that we previously told you would make an appearance, like the Honda Passport, the Kia Soul, the TRD versions of the Camry and the Avalon, and the Porsche 911 were there as well. But how many times do you expect me to plug myself in the same episode? And being far too busy to make it to a silly affair like the Los Angeles Auto Show, but also wanting to unveil a new car this week, Bentley went a few blocks down the street from the LA Auto Show and did just that, and gave us a look at the convertible version of the new Bentley Continental GT that the brand introduced last year. The Continental GT has been around for some 15 years now and was only recently supplanted by the Bentayga as Bentley's best-selling vehicle. The new convertible Continental GT will receive the same 6.0-liter W12 found in the coupe, but will gain some 375 pounds. However, don't let that get you down, as the car is still capable of a top speed of roughly 207 miles an hour and an impressive 3.7 second 0 to 60 time, though no official word is yet to be given on the price or when the model will be made available. And the rumor mill has been buzzing recently as there's speculation that Lexus might be planning a top-tier, high-performance SUV to rival the likes of the Lamborghini Urus or the upcoming Aston Martin DBX. And those are some pretty lofty goals, as the Lamborghini Urus, for example, is one of the world's fastest and most expensive SUVs, touting an all-wheel drive layout, producing 641 horsepower and 627 pound-feet of torque, and with a top speed of 190 miles an hour and a base price of roughly $232,000. Believed to be based at least partly on the LF1 Limitless concept unveiled in Detroit earlier this year, the new SUV would have an estimated production date of 2021, and I'll definitely keep you posted on this as more develops. And now with all this talk about exclusivity and horsepower, it should transition nicely into bringing you guys up to speed on the new Nissan Leaf. No, seriously. And I'm, of course, talking about the 2018 Leaf Nismo RC, an all-electric, track-only sports coupe brought to you by the guys over at Nissan's in-house racing arm, Nismo, featuring all-wheel drive, 2 electric engines producing 340 horsepower and 472 pound-feet of torque, and a 0 to 60 time of just 3.3 seconds. The car weighs in at just over 2,600 pounds and sports a widened wheelbase and loads of carbon fiber. And Nissan has actually produced a pretty impressive two-door sports-oriented EV that people may actually want to own. And in typical Nissan fashion, we'll only be making 6 of them, and no, you can't have one. And in Tesla news, citing a recent email sent out to Tesla employees, the company has now met its original target production of 5,000 Model 3s per week. And if this ends up being confirmed by the company, that means that their promise of offering a Model 3 at the price of around $35,000 is growing closer and closer to becoming a reality. And that's going to do it for this episode, but remember, the LA Auto Show doesn't wrap up until the 9th of this month, so there's a remote possibility that we may be getting some more developments as the week goes along. So keep it tuned in here if you want to stay informed. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it. I'm out.